What is a pirate's favorite letter? Of course, we are talking this week on Boarding Pass about presentations, part 2, visual aids. That's right, that's a pirate's favorite letter, visual aids, because they can see the R. Don't explain a joke because then it's not funny anymore. This is Boarding Pass, and this is the second episode in our series on presentations. I am Jack, and I'm here to coach you on how to more effectively give presentations if your audience is a mixed or entirely made up of non-native speakers. They are foreign peers, partners, customers. And this week, we're going to go over visual aids. And what are visual aids? We're going to break down the different types and parts of visual aids and how to more effectively use them for an audience that maybe their vocabulary, their grammar, their awareness of English usage is very limited, and you really ought to accommodate those holes in their understanding in the way that you are presenting and the way that you are structuring your presentation, and that includes visual aids. Let's go over our agenda for this week. The agenda really is the basic parts of visual aids. They're going to be slides, of course, and how you utilize slides. Charts and graphs. How are you going to explain and express important data to your audience without losing their attention? And then we're going to look at how to use videos and how to use images to get your point across as simply and as clearly as possible. A quick note here about what level of English you need to present to your audience. Everything that I've been talking about so far is not applicable if you're aware that your audience has a very high level of listening competence or understanding of English. If you don't know their English level, then it's got to be sink or swim. Now, having just said that, try to do your due diligence and find out as best you can what level of listening comprehension your audience has. Call or email a manager or a team leader. Ask them questions like, how much English practice have they had? How long have they been practicing English or studying English while at the company? What kinds of English courses have they been taking? And how would they assess their own English level? If you can get those details while you're prepping for your presentation, that is going to go a long way towards getting you better prepared for making your message more clearly understood and grabbed by your audience. At the end of the day, though, if you've done all that work and you still don't know what their level is, then the responsibility is on their end. And I'm going to repeat myself, it's sink or swim for them. You're off the hook. So now that we are continuing to talk about visual aids, let's start with slides in general. Your slides are going to be broken down into 4 basic parts. You're going to rely on pictures, either as accents to the information that you have, or to give all of the relevant information you have. You're going to use graphs and charts. You need to be very careful with how you use these. Simplify as much as possible. And I can't emphasize this enough. I can't exaggerate this enough. Simplify, 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 and if possible, use animations if you can to break up the order and the pacing of your charts and your graphs. Use more slides than you think. Slides aren't going to hurt the environment and it doesn't cost you any money. Use as many as you need to. Use blank slides if you have to add a little bit of pause in between your message. And one more thing about tables. In my experience, certain industries rely on tables of data and they are expecting it in your presentations. Sales, engineering, marketing, places where lots of numbers-driven data means something to them. Even if you are identifying the parts of the numbers that are the most pertinent to your message, your presentation topic, my advice to you is, as always, keep it simple and use a picture because a picture is worth 1,000 words, or use a chart or a graph. But, like I said, there's going to be industries that are going to rely on those numbers. So, having said that, make handouts. There's no rule that says you are not allowed to make handouts, and that is exactly what you should do. If I'm giving a presentation to the finance department, I'm going to make that table. And I'm going to identify the pertinent parts of the table I want them to focus on. I'm going to make printouts and copies of that table, and I'm going to make more copies than I need. If I know that there's going to be 6 or 7 people at my presentation, I'm going to make 10 copies. I'm also going to email copies to every person who has RSVP'd or is confirmed to be attending my presentation. That might seem like overkill. No such thing. It is preparedness. Now, during my presentation, though, I'm not going to use a table. I'm going to do things differently. So let me give you an example. This is an example of a completely ridiculous slide, but it's not unimaginable. I've seen slides like this often. I've seen, well, not exactly slides about Gandhi, India's hero, but very, very close. Slides that were nothing but text or bullet points. This is ridiculous. However, this adds more power, more punch. Instead of my audience trying to read a lot of dense text in a second language, and they stopped paying attention to you, instead, you tell them the text, and you show them a picture of Gandhi. So let me emphasize and repeat myself, less is more. Keep it simple, and if you need to, make handouts. Again, make handouts available for everyone. Email them before your presentation, not during, not after, but before the presentation. Give them a copy of the relevant tables and charts and data that they need. And then bring hard copies and bring more copies than you know will be at the presentation, because you might be given some surprises and you don't want to seem unprepared. But what about the actual presentation itself? In my experience, having sat through many business presentations, many times have I come across presentations where I just see an Excel spreadsheet. And not just one slide, not two, but the entire presentation is just Excel spreadsheets and the presenter telling me which are the important parts. One way to do it is to simply break this table down into graphs. And this isn't a very good idea. It depends on the information that you have. And one way to fix this problem is to use animations, but it's not a very good solution, but it is one way to do it. A better way is to try to keep it as simple and as clear as possible without ignoring other data. So we could easily have an Excel spreadsheet. Then you can auto-generate a graph or a chart. But the best way to do is to follow the rule of three, or SMS, or whatever the magic words are that are being used these days for more clear and effective visuals for your presentation, for your data. My advice is use an image like this and print out the spreadsheet. And something that I would do is when I get to this slide, I will give the relevant details I need to share, give them a moment to look at the slide, and then a very key point here is I will stop my presentation at this point, and I will direct them to go to their handout and look on whatever page has this chart, and I will get them to look for where this relevant information is on this spreadsheet and give them a moment to look it over. I'll say something like, okay, everyone, please take a look at page 2 on the handouts that I've given you, either the hard copy that you received before this presentation or the email that I sent you. Please open it up and take a moment to go over the spreadsheet and see the details that I've just explained to you in this presentation. I'll give you 1 minute. And give them that minute. And then announce, okay, I would like to continue to the next part of my presentation. Please put your handouts away. Now, you might be thinking that you're treating this like you're a teacher and they're students, that they're children who need to be told, hey, stop playing with your things and put them away so you can focus on the lesson. Sadly, that's kind of what you have to do. You need to tell them to put their toys away and listen to you again so you can get to the next point. We talked about charts, graphs, images, sharing complex data in as simple way as possible to your audience who is not 100% confident in their English comprehension skills. What do we do about video? Well, it's very simple. Keep your videos short. And if you already think your videos are short, ask someone to watch the video with you. And if you ask them, hey, could I make this shorter? If the answer is yes, then make it shorter. You should never be showing a video during a presentation that is longer than 2 minutes. And I'm not a fan even of showing videos that are longer than 1 minute. If you need to show a video that is a very large portion of your presentation, then I would cut the video and make the video a separate presentation available for people to watch in their own time. But if you need the video as a part of explaining or clarifying important, relevant, pertinent data in your presentation, keep it focused only on that pertinent part, only on that specific message you need to share. Another thing is, this isn't a movie that you're going to the theater with. This isn't Netflix. Spoiler. Yeah. That is exactly what you need to be doing. You need to spoil the movie. Tell them what the video is about, and then show them the video, and then tell them what the video was about again. You might think that's ridiculous. It is a 45-second video about pipes. Okay, well, tell them this is a 45-second video about pipes, and the reason why I'm showing it to you is because A and B. Then you show the video, and then you say, hey, I just showed you a 45-second video about pipes, and it talks about points A and B. That's exactly what you need to do. But you need to go one step further. You need to tell them why they watched this video. I showed you this video because it supports something I will say or something I said earlier in my presentation. Or I showed this video because it also supports my message in my presentation that you need to be aware of. Answer the question. I watched this video, so what? Well, tell them the so what. At the end of the day, when you are showing images, tables, charts, graphs, a video, you want to tell them what they are about to look at. Show it to them, remind them what they just looked at, and the key takeaways from this. What are the takeaways from the video they just watched? What are the takeaways from this chart? Why do they need to know this information? And when it's very complex information, when it's lots of wordy text and garbage and numbers, make it a handout. Distribute it before, way before the presentation, not during, not after, but before. And then during your presentation, stop what you're doing and give them a chance to look at the handouts. And this would be a good time for them to ask you some questions. But that is going to have to be for next episode. This is the end of this week's episode of Boarding Pass. I have, of course, been Jack. And if you have any questions or comments or any feedback you have about this video or last video, which introduces presentations, the contact details will be in the closing card at the end of this video. Thank you and goodbye.